Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I've decided I'm going to be doing an early predictions for the 2019-2020 football season. I decided, why not? You know, it's pre-season's about to begin, so why, when's there a better time to make early predictions? I don't know. Obviously anything can happen between now and the beginning of the season, so any club can sign just about anybody, realistically. So anything can change, but these are my predictions for the season. I've kind of gone into the conference as well, but it's mostly going to be Premier League and Football League. At number 10, I've listed more fit and proper failures. The whole system has been a shambles so far. Can't remember when they've introduced it, but so many clubs have been influenced by it. One of my teams, Notts County, are currently 3 days away from being wound up. So, yeah, then you got Charlton, owner is not fit and proper. You got Port Vale. Blackpool's obviously would have failed it. I don't think they actually had fit and proper at that point when the Oystons took over. But yeah, no, so there's going to be loads of fit and proper failures, I reckon, this year. There's at least 5 every year. 5 just really awful owners. Trying to think who else there's been. There's been Port Vale, Bury. Obviously, Bury's owner is obviously very dodgy. Yeah, there's loads of examples of them in the Football League. Coventry are getting screwed over right now. Portsmouth did, but that was prior to the fit and proper. But there's going to be loads more. I'm not going to predict who it's going to be because you never know where they come from. You never know which clubs they're going to be at. But yeah, another prediction, so number 9, is that Solihull Moors will be promoted to the Football League. And I know that this one probably seems a bit out of the blue, but you look at the progress that they made last season compared to the season before. In fact, the 2017-18 season, it took a minor miracle for them to stay up. They ended up going on a really good run, and then they continued that into last season, into the 2018-19 season, finished 3rd. Failed in the playoffs, unfortunately. I was rooting for them in the playoffs, them or Fylde. I'd love it if Solihull and Fylde came up. Obviously, I'd love it if Notts County came back up as well, but I don't see that happening. Solihull Moors, I reckon this is the season they will be promoted to the Football League. I hope. So, now we're going to go into the Football League, and obviously number 8, I've said Plymouth, Mansfield and Cambridge are going to fill the automatic promotion spots from League 2. Plymouth, I reckon, will probably win the league. They've made some good signings. They've signed Danny Mayer. I can't actually remember who else they've signed, but I remember seeing a few of their signings, and I've been impressed with what they've done. Definitely showing ambition. Mansfield, I just think, as much as it pains me to say it, I can't stand them. I think Mansfield, they've been there or thereabouts all for the last few seasons. Now's the time where they're going to get there, surely. They missed out on the last day by goal difference to MK Dons. So I reckon they're going to do well, I reckon. Unfortunately for me. Cambridge, I've seen some signings that they've made. They've made some crazy signings for their level. They've got Wes Hoolahan on trial. Obviously, Norwich fans will know about him, and West Brom fans should know he's decent. They've signed Callum Burton. I reckon it's going to be a good signing. Paris Cowan Hall, I reckon it's going to be a good signing for them. Obviously, I don't know what's going on with the Wes Hoolahan thing. He's been on trial there for a while. I take it nothing's happening there. But they seem to be getting a decent side together. They've released David Ford and they've brought in Callum Burton. He's going to be able to progress throughout the season. He's going to just get better. And obviously, I would imagine that they're going to be working on their defence as well. I don't know, not 100% certain where they weren't good enough last season. But they should be able to progress this season. My other prediction is Salford City to reach the playoffs. They are the side with a lot of controversy. owned by Gary Neville and the rest of the class of '92. They're going to be on Sky so much. We're going to see so much of Salford City. We're going to see more of Salford City than we saw of Norwich towards the end of last season. I can guarantee that one. That should have been my prediction. Salford are not... I don't think they're good enough to win the league or to reach that top three. I think those other three sides I mentioned will be too good for them. But I think ultimately they will get the playoffs. I think they'll probably miss out in the playoffs. I don't know who to. I'd love to see Colchester up there promoted. I just think that they'll be in that 4th to 7th spot. So League One, I made the predictions that Portsmouth and Sunderland will be top 2 with Rotherham and Lincoln in the playoffs. And I've made this prediction because I think Portsmouth and Sunderland will both be better than they were last year. And obviously both were in the playoffs. Rotherham, I think, will be in a position where I don't think they're going to lose too many players. I think Paul Warne will keep hold of most of them. He's a very good manager, by the way. To say what he's had to work with at Rotherham, I think everybody can appreciate the work he's put in with such a small infrastructure to be able to fight as hard as they did, finish above Bolton and above... That's another example of the fit and proper Bolton. And to be able to finish above Bolton and Ipswich, they were, for me, they put up a hell of a fight. I wish they would have stayed up, but you can't really expect a side like Rotherham to be competing every time. I'd love it if they did manage to bounce back up at the first time of asking. If they managed to take Sunderland out of that top 2, that'd be brilliant. Then Lincoln, I just think the progress under the Cowley brothers has been just incredible. From struggling to get promoted out of the conference, got promoted out, then got in the playoffs, missed out in the playoffs, and then that was a controversial League 2 playoffs as well, and then go on and win the league. I mean, what more could you ask for, really? They actually won the league quite Did they win the league in the end? I'm sure they won the league. I think they won the league quite comfortably in the end. My mind is going crazy now. My other prediction for League One is Ipswich to be mid-table, and I put this in because it's going to wind up a few of them. I do love winding up Ipswich fans. As a Norwich fan myself, yeah, it's I don't see them getting any higher than mid-table. That's okay. I'm going to change that to Ipswich mid-table at best. I think, yes, they've signed James Norwood and he's going to be good for them, but Thomas Holy is not a promotion material goalkeeper in League One. Maybe in League 2, don't get me wrong, if they signed him for League 2, then excellent. But it seems like what they're doing, they signed League 1 players for the Championship and now they're signing League 2 players for League 1. So I don't see them progressing anywhere. Luke Chambers is an awful captain, and yet they will stick with him. Paul Lambert is not the same manager he was 7-8 years ago, and I think it will show. He's pretty much emulating what Norwich did in, signing a big, however many goal striker. I think Norwood ended up getting like 27, 28 league goals. But I think they'll struggle. I think they'll struggle to adapt. It did take Norwich a while when we was down there, but we had teams like Charlton, Southampton. We had quite a few big teams, whereas Ipswich, I suppose there's Portsmouth, Sunderland, Rotherham. I suppose, yeah, actually, to be fair. But I don't see them finishing any higher than mid-table. So the Championship, I predicted Luton to stay up as number 4 and number 3, Charlton to be relegated. Charlton to be relegated simply because their owners aren't... They're not as ambitious as you would think, if that makes sense. Like, they let Lee Bowyer go, and then I'm pretty sure they re-signed him. They signed him the next day. But for me, they're not... Like, I think they also sold their best centre-back as well. For a side that's just come up to be selling players, for me, that's... you don't want to be doing that when you're promoted. Not, I don't know. It's a complicated one. Charlton are one of those sides that could easily get into the playoffs, but then they could also be relegated. But I'm going to say they're going to be relegated. Luton stay up. I think they'll be quite comfortable in the end, to be fair. I think they might even finish mid-table. I think they're a good attacking side. They'll come into the Championship. They won't look to sit back and just relax. Not necessarily relax. They won't look to sit back and defend. They will just go forward. Even when they're 2-0 up already, or if they're 2-1 or something, they'll still be looking for a third. They will always be looking to attack teams. And some games that will let them down, other games that will work to their advantage. So yeah, I think they'll be quite comfortable. They will come into the division, and they will be a decent addition to the league. And I think who's their manager now? Actually, to be fair, that's another one. New manager. I don't really know much about their manager. If they still had their manager from last season who got them up, I think that they would actually be maybe pushing for top half. But again, it's football. It's early in the season. In fact, it's not even the season yet. So we'll just see. So the second prediction. So my prediction number 2 is Wolves to break into the top 6. We're into the Premier League now. Wolves will break into that top 6. I think. Obviously, they've got the help of their super agent George Mendes. They will be able to sign some quality players, probably from Portugal, a lot like what Norwich have done with Germany, and they'll be able to break into that top 6. And I think that will be at the expense of, I would say Arsenal, but Arsenal could be signing Wilfried Zaha, so maybe at the expense of Man U. I think things are going to get worse before they get better. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Man U should stick with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but I don't think that things are going to get any better for Man U anytime soon. So for me, Wolves will finish 6th, Man U will finish 7th, or maybe even 8th, depending on how Leicester do, because Leicester have signed Ayoze Perez, and I think he will help take them to the next level, along with whoever else they sign. So my main prediction is that Brighton, Newcastle and Sheffield United will be the 3 teams to go down. For me, Sheffield United haven't brought in any quality. Obviously, they brought in Phil Jagielka, but he's not going to be able to play every week because, he doesn't fit their system, first of all. They play with attacking centre-backs, and Phil Jagielka is not going to be the player to carry them forward every week for 38 games in the season. He's just not going to do that. Brighton and Newcastle, I just think Brighton are on the decline, and I mean maybe the new manager might be able to get the best out of their players, but under Chris Hughton they were awful last season. Newcastle, obviously, there's so much unsurety. I don't know if that's the word. With surrounding their ownership, it's just going to unsettle the players. Already, you're seeing players start to leave now that Rafa Benitez has gone. And for me, Brighton and Newcastle for me are the 2 that I would put the most money on going down. And then it could be any of Sheffield United, it could be Burnley, it could be Bournemouth, it could be anybody just about. It could even be Norwich. And I'm sat here wearing a Zimmerman Appreciation Society shirt, but it's just the way it is in the Premier League. If you don't take your chances, you're going down. And for me, it's not going to be an easy one. It could be one of about 10 teams that take that final spot, but Brighton and Newcastle for me are definite. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say Sheffield United. That I will probably end up regretting that, and it'll probably be Norwich instead of Sheffield United. And probably just all my predictions will end up wrong, but I will come back to it and have a look at the end of the season. So in the meantime, I'm going to leave the video here. Hope you've enjoyed my predictions. I'm 90% on most of them. There's a couple of them where I'm a bit... I mean, the more fit and proper failures, that's guaranteed. That one might as well not even be a prediction. That's just a spoiler at this point. So yeah, I will come back and take a look at it at the end of the season and see how accurate I was. Hopefully, I've got it right. I might do another one where I predict, like, maybe Champions League or, you know, European leagues. But that was my prediction of top 5 flights in England, I suppose. But yeah, in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you have. Subscribe if you're new for more weekly content every Wednesday and Sunday. I was about to say Saturday. Every Wednesday and Sunday, more weekly content. And then other days throughout the week. Yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.